Back mining community, hope we're all well. We have another episode, and today we are talking to Paul Gill, who's the CEO and Director of Pampa Metals, a junior miner listed on the Canadian and Frankfurt stock exchanges, and owns a highly prospective portfolio of 8 projects for copper and gold located in proven mineral belts in Chile. Paul's an executive leader with a strong background in the resources industry. He's going to tell us a little bit more about Pampa Metals and maybe some other things, other questions that I may ask him around the industry. So that's welcome, Paul, to the podcast. How you doing, Paul?
Great, Rob. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time. Obviously, I'm in the UK. You're over on the east coast of, oh no, you're in the west coast of Canada, in Vancouver. So, yeah, obviously, probably quite a few people may know you who listen to this podcast, but for those that don't, that may be in other parts of the world, just wondering if you can just give us a little bit of a background about yourself, about your career, how you got into the mining industry, how it's developed to where you are today.
Yeah, thanks. What I've been doing in the last 20 years is really working and focusing on mining projects in the Americas. And I think that we want to develop projects here in North America to have a supply for the North American market, the burgeoning North American market, whether it be for infrastructure projects or for electric vehicles. That's been my focus. Previously, I was with Norsemont Mining. The last decade, probably in the 2000s, was really focused on Peru and developing copper projects there. And we had some great success and had a chance to develop the Constancia project in Peru to develop or to the point where it was mining copper. And Hudbay is now operating that particular mine, and it's got a fantastic valuation. We had a nice ride from 5 cents to $4 on that stock in the 2000s, and that was on the back of a very burgeoning copper market that was flying from 70 cents all the way to $4. And here we are. Here's the time that we thought that would never come. Copper's at 469, and the same goes for other metals and minerals, lithium and graphite. I've been working at developing Lamico Metals and just handed off that project to another management team that's going to go move that project into development. So I'm really focused on this area of interest. And when Pampa came up on the radar, I really took a big bite and got involved because I was coming off the management team of Lamico and wanted to have a project that was going to be a good 5-year run and had a prospective property portfolio. And boy, does it ever. I mean, 8 projects, 100% owned, with 62,000 hectares. We've just added an option, a joint venture option with VerAI on another 8 projects and another 16,000 hectares. So we've got some really good opportunity to find a big deposit down there. We're giving ourselves every opportunity. We're drilling now on that project. I'd love to talk more about it and let people take a look at the last few news releases if they get a chance.
Yeah. So I wonder if you can just give us an overview of Pampa Metals. And obviously, you've just briefly mentioned that you've got 8 projects and now acquiring another 8 projects. So I just wanted to give us a little bit of a history of the company. And I've got some other questions I was going to ask you also a little bit about the management team as well.
Yeah, the company is very new. It was only formed in 2020. and launched in December 2020, so a little over a year old. So brand new, not well known, and this is the advantage for new investors taking a look at it. Once these projects get better known and we start getting bigger and bigger results from those projects, I think it'll get on people's radars, and we'll have an analyst following, specifically focused on northern Chile, in the Antofagasta region. That's where 30% of the copper comes from. The thesis of this particular company is to look for copper in that particular region, simply because many of the copper deposits are under the surface, under the gravel till that covers this part of northern Chile. Now, big projects like Escondida, Spence, Collahuasi, and others have been discovered, but they've had, for the most part, an extended surface exposure of those projects. What we're looking for is what's under the Pampa, and that is the name of the glacial till that's there, and ergo the name of the company, Pampa Metals. So we think there's a treasure trove of deposits just lurking under the surface, and so much of what we're doing is background work on IP and magnetics, and collecting samples from reverse circulation drilling, in order to really hone down the locations of the porphyry. Because as you know, and many of your readers know, and some don't though, a porphyry deposit is a very vertical structure that comes up almost like a tree trunk, and then spreads out branches and leaves, and you barely have any that hit the surface. And those that do hit the surface, they tend to get obscured by the movements of these glaciers back and forth, and these are formed many millions of years ago. So you have to look carefully at the data, and that's why getting an AI group like VerAI involved to reassess all of the data points that we have is vital. I think we're going to have a very good discovery run, and it's going to shock a lot of people as to how much value there is in this company.
So just moving on, just wondering if you tell us a little bit about the management team that obviously you've assembled. You mentioned that you formed in 2020. So wondering if you just tell us a little bit about the management team, maybe some of their attributes there, and what value they could add to the company.
Yeah, that is one of the best assets we have is the management team. Our board of directors includes Adrian Manger, who is the chairperson, and he was formerly with BHP. He actually was in charge of the building of the Spence mine in Chile. So lots of experience, 20 to 30 years in Chile. The same with Julian Bavin, the ex-CEO and currently a director living in Chile, 30 years with Rio Tinto, and has been a director of other public companies as well in this space. We think we have some really good experience there in corporate development. In addition to that, Timothy Beale, who's been with Anglo American in the exploration department, really the head of our geological team, and includes also Mario Orega in Chile, who works closely with Tim on the ground there. So we really can be in and out of the country. In addition, Yanis Desotis, formerly with Gold Source, but also formerly corporate development BHP as well. And I'm rounding out the team is our CFO, Gurdeep Bains, who is really an anchor for us and has tremendous experience with 10 years of duty at Canaccord Genuity. So if you've ever seen a team like this, I would like to know, because I've never seen this kind of experience on this team. And I was happy to join and start talking about the company, which I think has been the big detriment, that these guys are so hardworking on the ground. They haven't talked to as many people as they should about how great this company is and how great it could be.
And how did you sort of get the team together? Were they sort of handpicked? Have you known them in the past? And I suppose, why did they come to join the company? Did they have the same vision as yourself?
Yeah, well, it was the other way around. They formed this company, this group formed this company through IPO last year. And I was only tangentially aware of them because I was busy with Lumico Metals. And it was only when I started digging deep to understand the kind of value packed into this small company, a small market cap, that I really understood that, wow, this is going to be a monster play in the future simply because of the land package in this area. You just can't get this land package in this area of Chile. And remember, this is where 30% of the copper comes from. People talk about, this being Chile being the Saudi Arabia of lithium. Forget that. Saudi Arabia is the oil of Chile because Chile is where most of the copper comes from. We depend on Chile for our future. That's the fact. We need that copper to develop the electric vehicle revolution, to develop our infrastructure. And so the great thing here is this team knew it. They built it. I found it. And, I went into the room not knowing enough about it. As the more I dig on this company and more I learn about the company, the more I like it. It is well thought out exploration thesis and an incredible team that's able to develop that thesis. And we're doing it now. We've spent $4 million on that eight projects, and we had hoped to be able to eliminate some of them and say, oh, well, this one's not as good as that one. But no, we have to go back and drill 4 of those projects, and 2 are already under joint venture being drilled by a joint venture partner, Austro Gold, looking for gold deposits. So we're going to be active on 6 of those projects, and the only thing limiting us is budget. So we want to hire a drill in Chile and move it from project to project and be drilling for a year or a year and a half and really just continue to produce results. And now is a time that we're going to go deep and find the trunk of those porphyry deposits, the real center of them. That's what we're going to shoot for. So it's a perfect opportunity. We've done all the setup work last year. Now is the time to go for it. And that's what we're going to do.
Obviously, you mentioned the exploration thesis. Wonder if you could just give us a little bit more content around the exploration thesis of Pampa Metals.
Yes, as I mentioned before, many of the mines that we find in this part of Chile have surface expression, and that's how they were found. Geologists went and chipped rocks and were able to see them. But as you know, the formation of some of these deposits is really because of the tectonic plate action crunching the Pacific plate, crunching the South American plate, and causing the Andes to rise. It's at that time when that development is happening that we see all of that copper being pushed up through the system. Copper, gold, and silver are usually the best metals that reach the surface, and you see a number of them up and down the coast of northern Chile. And the best part about it is you can actually run induced polarization and magnetics and see the flows of the material under the ground. The technology today is very good. And then on top of that good technology, detecting technology that will produce data, you have AI available now that will interpret that data based on other deposits that have already been found. If one is poking up through the surface and has a certain underground value or geological content to it, we can see another one that just didn't make it to surface and be able to predict it's going to be there. And that is the beauty of it. We need to go back and comb over this area of Chile to find these. And that's what this team has done. We've gotten 8 projects. There is 8 others under joint venture. This is areas that are very sought after by the majors. We could sell this property portfolio for 3 or 4 times what the company is worth now in the market. I mean, that's the reality here. We're being undervalued right now by the market because no one knows us. We have a good, tight structure of 46 million shares. And most of the warrants and options are at 40 and 45 and 60 even. So the last financing was at 45. So here we are trading far under value with drills turning, Rob. That's the thing I just got to underline. We're about to make some results known to the public, and people should be watching this company.
Obviously, you're the chairperson and former CEO for the Moco Metals. What was the catalyst to make you make that switch to Pampa? There was obviously something that attracted you to the company. What are they? And obviously, you have explained quite a lot about some of the advantages of obviously the management team, the property. But was there anything else that really attracted you to Pampa Metals?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I never leave a company until I know it's safe and my shareholders are going to be well served by a management team. And I found the group that joined Lamico Metals to be of high quality. We've changed the entire board of directors, and I feel safe as an investor and chairperson there with that team. So it was my duty, I believe, to allow that company to grow and to step aside and have the new management team put their impression on it. And as I was doing that, I really started just simply trading stocks in the market, just seeing what's out there. And I've always loved copper. Copper is the lifeblood of our economy. That's the fact. We need more copper, and we're going to need copper for 100 years. The last 100 years, we've depended on Chile to provide us with that copper. The next 100 years, it's coming from Chile. All the infrastructure is there, and that's what attracted me. You have the best location to find copper. You have the best location to develop copper. You have all of the major companies there. Copper is now $4.69 a pound and going higher. And you have a fantastic management team that has the connections and network to develop a company, in addition to having a fantastic land package and a very tight structure. I couldn't wish for more on this company. It is the package that I'm looking for, and that's why I've really gone deep into the company and bought a lot of shares myself. And I'm encouraging people to take a good look at this and do their own due diligence, and hopefully they will find what I found.
Do you see any or foresee any challenges ahead, I suppose, in the short and medium term at all?
Yeah, the only challenge right now is that we're dealing with political change in Chile. And that has, scared a few people away. I mean, they're looking at Peru or Bolivia or Venezuela and seeing that those are problem areas in South America. But what people don't know, and I have the confidence because my background is in political science, and I did, comparative politics in South America. So I know the difference between the regimes in Chile and Argentina and the rest of them. But Chile has been the most stable country in South America, and probably in all of Central and South America. And that even includes Mexico. We have a business-oriented group there. Even though lately the recent PM or president is more left-leaning than usual, it's the centrists that run the treasury and the mining industry in that location, and you cannot bite the hand that feeds you. That's what Chile understands. They know business. They know that in order to achieve some of the social reforms that they want to achieve, they have to have copper flowing from Antofagasta to the world. And it's never been a better time for them because copper is at a high, and they've been given an endorsement from the mining community thus far. Now, they're obviously very interested in controlling some of that wealth. That's fantastic. But in our situation, is that 1 or 2% of a mining tax that might be talked about really going to make a difference to us, whether we sell for $1 billion or 999 million? We don't care. We're going from zero to hero here. We're not worried about 1% or 2% mining tax. We're worried about getting this find done and 1 or 2 of these projects, and selling this project to a major for a lot more than what we're trading for now.
Got a couple more questions. What activities are you guys doing at the moment on some of these projects?
Yeah, we're very active on the projects because we're always we have a great field team. So on block 4, we just finished a trenching program. We're waiting for results there. That's a very standalone location in which we've in those trenches we found stockwork veining, and it is an isolated anomaly, which is an intrusive that's hit the surface. So there's a potential for gold, silver, and copper there. On Cerro Blancos and Morris Blancos, we're drilling on those 2 joint venture projects for gold and copper. Our joint venture partner wants to find gold. We want to find copper. They're paying for it. They can find whatever they want. It's going to be a benefit for both of us. We're also in the process of assessing some of those new projects we have with VerAI. And data analysis is a very important part. I mean, you can save millions upon millions of dollars by analyzing data, and knowing where not to go on a project is more important than knowing where to go. We want to focus in on the locations that are going to be the most useful to us and the most prospective, drill those targets and maybe eliminate them or maybe develop them. We need that information, and that's how we're going to proceed. So that's what's happening on several of the other projects, Cerro Buenos Aires and Redondo Veronica. I mean, the beauty also is some of the neighbors of our projects are majors themselves. Rio Tinto is a neighbor, Anglo American's a neighbor, Codelco is a neighbor. I mean, we have opportunities to work with these groups to show them a few new tricks potentially that they haven't tried yet on their project, because we have the information on our project. So I think that's an exciting aspect of the future of this company, that it has so many different cards to play in this area of Chile, that it is overburdened with wealth. And I think that more information on the projects as they come out will benefit everyone there, and at the same time people will be relieved of any insecurity they have about the political situation. We've been through this before. We know that every year there's an election in Chile, people get nervous about, oh, there's a left-wing or centrist government. It doesn't matter. They're going to keep that copper flowing.
Yeah. And as a conclusion and sort of final words, what's the outlook for the next 12 to 18 months? I mean, is there any goals that you want to achieve, any sort of signposts that you want to make over the next year and a half?
Yeah, we're looking to do, Rob, is get in results that will elevate us to the next level and to the next. Results from trenching will progress into drilling. Results from drilling will progress into development. So we are working hard. We have 6 projects that we are focused on out of the 8 that we have under 100% ownership of. 2 are being drilled, 4 are being either trenched, or IP is going to be done on them and sample results coming. And then we're going to assess with artificial intelligence the results that we've received and the data we have in order to produce further targets. Then after that, with the next financing that we're looking at, we're going to drill. And that's the focus of the company: drill and discover and develop.
Great. Paul, really appreciate your time. Perhaps you might want to come on to the podcast later this year or next year and give us some of those results. More welcome to sort of come back on. Wondered if, and if our audience wants to sort of reach out to you, if they've got any questions, how can they go about doing that? Are you across any social media platforms?
Yeah, we're at Pampa Metals on Twitter. We have a Facebook page, and it's www.pampametals.com, and you can reach me at paul@pampametals.com.
Great, no worries, and we can obviously include those in the show notes as well. Paul, really appreciate your time. Good luck with everything. It seems obviously you've got a busy year ahead, and wish you well with obviously all the results that you will get, and we can, like I said, get you on the show next year or later this year for an update. Those that are listening, appreciate your participation. Keep sharing the podcast, telling your friends, and obviously with this episode, please share this with people that you know in the industry, maybe even people in South America that may obviously want to know more about what's happening in Chile, and especially obviously with Pampa Metals, and those that are interested in the copper space as well. So appreciate your continued support, and until next time, happy mining.